we're talking about activating buyer-centric enablement. So now, even with the complexity and the hardships and the hurdles we got to get over, now we got another problem. The problem we now have is 40% of our sellers, 40% of our team members, they're going to keep working from home, which means our buyers, our decision makers, our influencers, the stakeholders that we're trying to sell to, they're also going to keep working at home. And regardless of whether you're talking to Forrester or whether you're talking to McKinsey, 55% of buyers prefer interacting with sales remotely. And 80% of decision makers prefer human interactions or digital self-service. So I got to ask ourselves, how ready are our teams to embrace the way that buyers want to buy? Hello, everyone. My name is Eli Cohen. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Saleshood. Listen, welcome to this amazing collaborative interactive session on activating buyer-centric enablement. And this is a hot topic these days with everyone being remote and with everyone trying to focus on being more buyer-centric in their businesses and their go-to-market. So we decided to kind of lean into the topic and really share some insights with all of you. So here's what we're going to do today. We're going to share with you some industry insights on what we're seeing trends-wise in the world. And so we're going to start there. Then we're going to provide you with a framework to think about buyer-centric enablement, competence building, confidence building, content mastery. And we're going to show you how you need to have like a holistic view on enablement and how buyer centricity can be the anchor. And then we're going to show you a digital buyer site in action, because that's where it all comes together in real time for buyers and sellers to collaborate. So those are the three things. We're going to 30 to 40 minutes, and I'm inviting you to ask questions. And please ask questions as we go along. I'll pause. I'm checking the feed, and so I'm going to go through some slides, and we'll take questions, and then we'll dig right in. So I'm excited. So activating buyer-centric enablement. Here we go. So again, thank you very much, Eli Cohen, CEO and co-founder of Saleshood. And so I love starting with what's going on in the industry. First, I'm just going to say there are about 45,000 enablement practitioners. Of the 45,000 enablement practitioners that have enablement in their business title on LinkedIn, 16,000 have been in enablement for less than 1 year, and 15,000 have been in enablement 1 to 2 years. I start with that stat because I want folks to appreciate where we are in enablement. And where we are in enablement, and since so many people are new, where we are in enablement is, here's a reality, and this is going to be sobering. 20% of our sellers are creating 80% of our revenue, which isn't great. 30 to 50% of our sellers are hitting quota. Most CEOs and CROs, when they approach Saleshood and they want us to help them with their sales efficiency, they're living in the high 20s or low 30s. I'm curious, those of you that are on here, what are your current sales efficiency numbers, right? So in the feed, I'm curious to see, are you at 30%? Are you at 50%? I had a CRO tell me the other day, if you can get 60% of my sellers hitting 80% of quota, we will crush our numbers for the year, right? So there's something there that we just need as an industry, as a profession. We need to really be clear on what problem we're solving. And while it's interesting to try and solve problems like training and onboarding, what we should really be focused in on is this: how many of our team members, how many of our customer-facing team members are actually hitting quota? So just internalize that. I'm going to check your chat in a moment. So please, I'm curious. And then another interesting stat is the average sales tenure is about 18 months. This is from Exactly Corporation, which is, data driven. And the importance and the significance of that, and this is for you, Joe, thanks for asking the question, is think of the lost revenue when we hire a salesperson and they don't make it. And so the opportunity cost, of the pipeline that we give them that has low win rates, and the opportunity cost of the deals that they don't pursue in the right way, that is huge. That's millions of dollars of lost revenue per rep. I did the math based on the number of sellers in North America. The magnitude of the problem is in the trillions of dollars of lost revenue because we're hiring salespeople, they're not hitting quota, and they're bouncing around from company to company to company. So just internalize that. And what's really at the root of it is, we're not doing a good job helping our teams close deals faster, ramp faster. We're not helping them reduce the amount of time they're spending doing admin work versus selling time, and then their win rates aren't where they need to be. So I like starting talks out with this information because it kind of gets us thinking like, holy, there's a really big problem out there. And so now I'm looking at your feed. What is the source of the data? So the source of the data is threefold. And CSO Insights, Gartner, and Forrester, and the average sales tenure is 18 months. And so the 30 to 50% is common data across all three of those analyst platforms. And so I wanted to share that with you. Thanks for the question, Tom. I am curious if anyone is seeing themselves doing the tenure of is telling as well. Right. Hey, Dr. Peterson, nice to see you. Hello, NIU baby in the house. Okay, so we're starting here, folks. So now we're talking about activating buyer-centric enablement. So now, even with the complexity and the hardships and the hurdles we got to get over, now we got another problem. The problem we now have is 40% of our sellers, 40% of our team members, they're going to keep working from home, which means our buyers, our decision makers, our influencers, the stakeholders that we're trying to sell to, they're also going to keep working at home. And regardless of whether you're talking to Forrester or whether you're talking to McKinsey, 55% of buyers prefer interacting with sales remotely. And 80% of decision makers prefer human interactions or digital self-service. So I got to ask ourselves, how ready are our teams to embrace the way that buyers want to buy? They want to buy digitally. Now, and an interesting question came up on LinkedIn yesterday, which I thought was, so does by getting the sales process and the buyer's journey to be more digital, does that mean we need less salespeople? No, it means that we need to arm our salespeople to be better at curating content, curating information, asking the right questions, and also being able to answer questions and doing that in a more efficient and effective manner. So super interesting. And I'm just seeing if there are any questions. No questions yet. Please feel free to pause me and have me answer questions, and love to do that. So now that we understand we've got an attainment issue and an efficiency problem, and then now we've got an effectiveness problem because our teams are not necessarily ready to master this modern buyer's journey. Now we got to ask ourselves, organizationally, is our go-to-market modern? Is our go-to-market buyer-centric? And so most of the time when we meet companies today, they may have a sales process that's inward facing, and they may have a customer success process that could be buyer-centric, but is it blended together? And are we thinking holistically across marketing, across sales, across success, across renewals, across growth, across the entire go-to-market? Are we thinking about it in a very buyer-centric way? What are we doing to enable our teams to be better at educating their buyers? What are we doing to enable our teams to help their buyers explore? Because there's a difference depending on where buyers are, whether they're in the education phase, the exploration phase, the evaluation phase, or they actually want to touch and feel the product and there's an experience phase. We need to ensure that our teams are equipped to be able to master the specific stages of the buyers depending on where they are, because that's going to be a highly differentiated sales campaign and sales pursuit, and sellers that are able to determine where the buyer is in the journey will be able to then curate content and be an expert to that person when they need it, right? If someone is in an education phase and they're just trying to understand about sales enablement and trying to learn about it, if you're starting to talk to them about pricing and demos and trials, there's a mismatch there. And that's something, the reason why this is called activating buyer-centric enablement is we need to take the buyer centricity of a buyer's journey, and then we need to infuse it into our enablement programs. And listen, I love the stat from Gartner as well. digital sales rooms are going to become 30% of the transactions online. And we're going to show you one in a minute. And so I love giving people tips, and I'm just kind of taking a slight detour here before I dive into some of the additional kind of framework aspects of building buyer-centric enablement. But, we get asked a lot, right? So how can we embrace and use video or content sharing, asynchronous collaboration beyond just prospecting, right? Because I don't want people to think a digital sales room or a digital buyer site is just for prospecting. It's not. Yes, you can share videos with buyers in the education phase, but where the real value comes in is, think back to this process, right? We can share content and we can share videos and we can collaborate with their buyers at every stage here in the buyer's journey. And I really want you to think about the evaluation and the experience phase, right? So if we can, and go back to the stat, right? 80% of decision makers want to engage digitally. They're not just talking about awareness. They're also talking about an education. They're talking about actual evaluation. And so, for example, demo vignettes, proposal explainers, customer reference and testimonial videos, customer mutual success plans. Those are things that need to be shared asynchronously and collaboratively. Business case value summaries, right? These are all pieces of content that when a customer team member shares it with a buyer and they understand where the buyer is in the journey, magic happens, because then you're sharing the right content at the right time. And this is something that, while automation and AI machine learning can work and it can really help guide and prescribe content, the reality is our teams, our people, our customer success teams, the 15,000 sellers across the United States of America, and then the 15 million, and then the 25 million across Europe and Canada and Asia Pac, they need to be able to master this new buyer's journey. So we need to really be thoughtful about how we're helping them build competence. So are they ready? Do they understand the buyer's journey? And do they understand what content should be shared at what stages? Do they understand the conversations that should be happening? Have they been trained? Have they been practicing? So you see, there's so much competence building that needs to happen around the buyer-centric. And it's a lot more than just sending content to people and saying, hey, here you go, grab some content. And so we got to do more than that. And then we got to boost confidence. How do we boost confidence? We need to reinforce with just-in-time coaching. Managers need to be trained. We got to boost confidence in real time, when folks are on calls, when they're in one-on-ones with their managers, when they're doing team huddles, right? So confidence building is when you learn it. Confidence building is when you're applying it and getting feedback. And then, yes, and what are they getting confidence around? And what are they getting competence around? The content. Here's what we hear. We get this a lot. Companies come to us and they say, listen, we've got an amazing content repository. Unfortunately, our teams don't understand how to use it. It's because we haven't taken a step back and we haven't built an enablement program that is role-based and that is buyer-centric and that is geared towards getting your teams to be conversationally competent and confident around the messages by stage in the buyer's journey, with the content that maps to each one of those stages that I talked about before. And so I wanted to just, this is a framework. And as you're thinking about your enablement, really you should be asking yourselves, are your programs focusing in on these three core pillars: competence building, confidence building, and then content mastery? And let me pause. Any questions yet? Let me look at the feed. Let me see here. Not seeing a ton of questions here. We got a couple. I'm gonna look at this one from Tim Lewis. Our biggest challenge is getting our sales teams comfortable being on camera and developing content. I love that, right? And so let's talk about that for a second. When I think about the different ways to use video, so Tim, thank you for the comment. When we think about this comment, a lot of the times people will train their sellers, train their customer teams on a corporate pitch. And that's fine, right? They'll train it, they'll practice it. But if you break the pitch down into micro certifications, micro conversations that are tied to the very specific phases in the buyer journey, and you had people practice and share best practices on these short little demos, these short little videos that can be a minute or two each, you're going to slowly build their confidence. And that's just a small tip, Tim. Get them to do small little videos, get them to be comfortable. So start with the hello video, a short elevator pitch, get them to do a post video meeting recap, and they got to practice. But that's the point, Tim, right? It's you can't just give people a digital room, give them the ability to share videos, give them content, and then say, you're good, you got it, right? We all know, Tim, they don't got it. And we all need to practice, and we need feedback, and we need feedback from our peers. We need feedback from our managers. Tim, it's a great point. And then Robert Peterson, thank you. The full digital natives will love this video. However, I have twin 19-year-olds and they don't want to interact with people. Oh my God. So that's the opposite spectrum. They feel comfortable with full digital decisions. Videos will help reach these future decision makers. Late millennials are similar. And so, and yeah, thank you for sharing. There is a blog there that talks about the 13 ways to use video. Great comments. Really, really great comments. The way we think about a process to get an entire organization aligned, to get the entire go-to-market aligned around a system, to get everyone to be conversationally competent across sharing content, recording videos, and doing it across the entire buyer's journey is by following a framework like this. This is proven. It's based on years and years of experience, based on billions and billions of video watching seconds and coaching activities. We know when companies embrace this proven framework for sales enablement, magic happens. And magic means they have better efficiency. They have higher attainment. They have lower attrition. So their sellers are staying 2, 3, 4 years versus bouncing after 18 months. They have better win rates. They have conversational competence and confidence. And so what that means is when you're rolling out your training and you're rolling out your content and you're rolling out whatever it is, a new pitch deck, or you're rolling out some new mutual plan templates, or you're rolling out some new sales process materials. What you want to do is you want to think strategically about how you're activating the content. It needs to be activated. It can't just shove it on a wiki, can't just put it, on a site and say people got it. It's got to be activated. It's got to be organized. It's got to be a recording that teaches people. I'm going to show you one in a minute, what I mean by activation. There's got to be explainer videos. Folks need to have, kind of a written outline around what the content, how it's going to be used. It needs to be applied to. So however you roll out content, you need to think about activating it. And we've got checklists for that as well. Then once you activate the content, then you need to curate it. Which customer teams need which content at what time? And so customer success teams will get different content than SDRs, will get different content than AEs. That's what curation means. Then you got to go through a process of learning where folks are consuming the content, you're measuring their completion, they're getting accredited, they're getting assessed, whether it's a stand and deliver, whether it's a quiz, but there is a learning step. That is a step in the process, but it's not the final step, because then you got to reinforce with manager feedback, manager coaching, peer accelerated learning, peer-to-peer feedback. Amazing. And guess what? It doesn't stop there. What we want to do is we then want to guide, right? So then the content and the plays and the materials need to show up in Salesforce and Microsoft on the opportunity just in time when your teams need it. And then the modern buyer journey is digital. And then we want to empower our sales teams, our customer teams, to be able to engage buyers with digital buyer sites. And then if you don't have one system and you don't have a process that tracks activity from activation through to curation, to learning, to coaching, to guiding, and to engaging, this is all data. And if you're not correlating this to performance data, it's going to be impossible for you to tweak and iterate your programs. And so, this is a framework as you're thinking about rolling out new plays, new content, new sales processes, new pitches, whatever you're rolling out for your teams, just start internalizing this framework and let us know if we can help you. We'd love to help you institutionalize this in your organizations. But what we're told is the power here is pulling together marketing, sales, ops, HR, all the various stakeholders that all get aligned around a go-to-market initiative, because we all know enablement is a company-wide initiative. And so, listen, I wanted to give you some insights. We wanted to give you some a framework to think about how you can embrace and activate buyer-centric enablement. And I want to show you, what buyer-centric enablement looks like. And so, so first things first, I am going to start with a digital site. So I'm going to go here. I'm going to take this URL and I'm going to put it in the chat. I'm going to let you touch it and feel it. And let me go to my chat, And so I'm going to go and share here. I'm going to host panelists. Oh, I'm going to go to everyone. And so what you're seeing here is an example of a digital buyer site. And it's public facing, and it can be authenticated or unauthenticated. And you can see here, as a seller or someone on a customer team, I've published some content. Here is a digital buyer sites explainer video. Here is a personalized video message. Here's a 2-minute demo. Here's a presentation. I think it's super interesting. You know, slides, you can share slides. Here are the slides. Here's an ebook that I can share as well. And so I can upload PDFs, and then here's some testimonial videos, right? And so this is something that we are encouraging customer teams to share before, during, and after meetings to improve the efficiency of their teams. And so this is a digital buyer site. And so you're able to come into here, and I can see who's in the site, and you can see folks are able to click, and you can log in. And therefore, as a customer team member, I'm able to track what people are doing on the site, whether they're watching videos, whether they're downloading the presentations, how much time are they spending on the slides. Really, really interesting. And so I wanted to show you what one looks like from the end, but now let's go in and I'll show you how easy it is for customer teams. And this is amazing. I love this. We launched this last year and we continue to make improvements. So this is SalesHood. And now I am a salesperson and I've logged into SalesHood. And this is my purpose-built all-in-one sales enablement platform. This is where I do my learning. This is where I do my coaching. This is where I'm able to engage buyers. This is my one-stop shop for everything I need. You can see here, there's recommended content on the top. There's assigned learning here in the middle. You know, I'm able to really interact with this. I can say I'm all done with that. And then you can see here, we've got trending content, which is really great, driving kind of a social component. I can see what's new and exciting. Really, it's the place that sales teams come to, customer teams come to get everything they need so they can sell. I love it. We just, brought on a new customer, Copado. Rob, one of our sales professionals, recorded a deal win. Amazing, amazing, amazing. And what we're talking today about activating buyer-centric engagement. And so sellers now are able to create these buyer sites with a couple clicks. It's pretty amazing. You can see here, I can just create one, and I'm a couple clicks away from creating one. And if I wanted to create one for like Apple, I can go here, I can find the logo, and it actually picks up the logo, and I can go through this process. I can say whether I want this to be private or public. I can even denote specific domains. Really, really amazing. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you kind of that site that I just showed you a moment ago. Here's that digital buyer site. And so here it is, right? And so from an administration perspective, what I wanted to show you is how easy it is to administer. And then as a seller, as a customer team member, how easy it is for me I can select content from the library. So I can look for approved content and I can share new content. I can look for, I want to add some more ebooks. And so here are my, here's some more content. Here's another ebook. I can record videos. I can upload files. I can share links. I can make it private. I can make it public. And if I want to record a video, I'm just recording it right here. And I know folks are saying, yeah, listen, it's uncomfortable. However, if our teams aren't able to practice and they're not able to get feedback, and you're not inserting a step where they're practicing their videos and they're practicing their pitches, then you're missing an opportunity to help them build confidence and competence, right? And we have a pitch AI that's coming out that's going to give a seller in real time, hey, you know what? You spoke too fast. Hey, you know what? You didn't cover the keywords. Really excited about that, right? Super, super, super excited. And so that's a pretty powerful experience where salespeople are now embracing in their buyers digitally with these type of digital buyer site experiences. And oh, by the way, look at the insights. So now I can see who downloaded a book. So I can see that someone just downloaded a book. I can see that they've viewed a variety of these, and so I can get full history. So think about it. If I'm working an opportunity or I'm working with a customer and it's on a renewal, I've shared a digital buyer site. If they've engaged with the content, that's information. Those are insights. That's going to tell me the relative sentiment, and it's going to give me buying signals, right? At the same time, I am coming across as a thought leader, as an expert, because I can share content in a curated way with the buyers, and they're going to appreciate me. So you're going to have a highly differentiated sales process, highly personalized with thought leadership. That's going to differentiate you against the competition. That's going to improve win rates, close bigger deals. And that's really the so what here of digital buyer sites, which I'm really excited about. I'm going to show one more thing, and then we're going to open up to more Q&A. What I love about this as well, from a marketing perspective, from a repeatable plays perspective, you can see here we've got a bunch of sites that are the ones that have the highest engagement. They're persona based, they're sales play based. So as a customer team member, as a seller, I can say I can preview a site. So here's a site. I can look at the various videos and the ebooks where this is amazing. I'm going to go ahead and clone it, and I'm going to use it. And then marketing now has complete visibility to what's working and what's not working from a content perspective as well. And so let me pause, stop sharing, and really, you've got a link there so you can keep clicking around on your own. But I'm curious to see comments and questions, what we have so far. Let me see here. Will be amazing when we can see who view the content. You can see it. Tim, we released that last week. Contact level insights down to the individual person is now available in our digital buyer sites, and the ability to invite people, and then when a person that's invited invites someone and they log in, because you notice when you click on the link, it's going to ask you for your email, or it's going to ask you to log in, and therefore we know who you are. And so it is amazing, and it is here. And contact level insights, so that way now you can look at the decision makers, the stakeholders, the influencers across an entire buying team, and you'll know based on yeah, exactly. We will absolutely show that to you, Tim, and we'll get you sorted. Absolutely. All right. So listen, everyone, my goal today was to walk you through some of the insights and the trends that we're seeing around buyer-centric enablement. What are we seeing in the industry? And we talked a lot about our sellers and our teams not necessarily hitting the goals that we needed to hit in terms of efficiency. And then we talked about, layer on top of that, the reality of modern buying and the fact that our decision makers are at a place where they want to be able to buy digitally and engage with sellers in a digital fashion. Yeah, we're going to meet, but when we meet, it's going to be purpose-driven and thoughtful, but send me information ahead of time. And so therefore, what I'm hopeful is each and every one of you, as you are seeing this digital buyer site, and you're realizing, wow, this is the new way to sell. But it's more than just selling, because I'm going to show you one more thing. What you need to also think about is it's not just the digital buyer site. It's also what's the enablement that's happening around it. And so, for example, the reason why we need our teams to be able to be, how we get them competent, like check this out. We just rolled out a new, mastering the sales and conversation, right? The conversation is happening asynchronously and happening digitally. So here's an example of how you take an initiative to up-level your team's ability to embrace a buyer-centric model of going to market, and then how you can train them with new slides. So you can see here how detailed we're getting. There's an intro video. We're explaining the context of what's happening in the industry. We're giving folks insights on behind the slides, right? So for example, you can see here, here's some training, and we're explaining the slides, and everything is, I can even read the transcript if I want to learn it. It's pretty amazing, right? Because salespeople and folks want to learn in a number of different ways. Folks like to learn on mobile. Folks like to learn through video. Some folks like to read when they learn. So we want to make sure that we're giving people exactly. And then look at this. Look how detailed we're getting. And this is what we're recommending, right? So when you're training your people on your pitch decks and you want them to be conversationally competent, right? Think about the tips that they need, right? Clone the slides, customize the slides, visualize the slides, make sure every slide has a question, super interesting. And then, you know what, send slides ahead of time. So if you think about what we're doing is, it's not enough to just train your people on the messaging. You need to train them how to take the messages and how to use them in the buyer's journey, and then how to adjust how they're conducting themselves before, during, and after meetings. And then, yeah, you can do slide walkthroughs as well. I love this, getting teams to share answers to questions around what are their favorite slides and why. So here, Brad, one of our sales team members, is like, you know, what's your favorite slide and why? You know, I love the tool proliferation slide because it helps. A lot of customers are talking about this right now. And this is how you get your teams to master your content. It's not just about giving them a video of your CMO recording a video. They need to be able to internalize, personalize the messaging, and then learn it, master it, and practice it, right? So check this out. They should be able to record their pitch. Here, I can check out Nate on my team. Nate recorded their pitch yesterday, and here's Nate's pitch. Here's Nate practicing it. There's a scorecard, right? And so this is how you build confidence. This is how you build competence. And so net, we want each and every one of you to really think holistically about enablement and about buyer-centric enablement. I want you to think about building the competence of your teams. We want you to reinforce with confidence building, with peer coaching, manager coaching, and we want you to do that to help your teams ultimately master the content. And if you can do that and follow that framework that we talked about, then you'll be able to really know what's working and what's not working, and you'll be able to continually iterate your go-to-market and up-level your teams like never before. That's the so what of activating buyer-centric enablement. I'm going to pause and just say, listen, everyone, thank you very much for being here. I'm going to open the floor to questions, and it's always a pleasure. It's always a pleasure sharing what we know and what we know works. And we're trying to elevate the profession and elevate each and every one of you to the best enablement professionals on the planet, and to be the best sales teams closing the most deals the fastest. So with that, let me see what questions we have.